Let me turn off my Wi-Fi here.
Right. I think we're live. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having coffee with us. Or maybe biking or doing something else.
We are in our pre-race or post-race day stupor right now and trying to home.
Yeah, California is a very big state if you're not familiar with it. So we're in Southern California in Oceanside in our cute little Airbnb. And yeah, the drive back home to Northern California is 8 hours without traffic. Yeah, we've never done this before, but we might make this a regular thing. Because it takes us several days, maybe even up to a week to edit our race day videos because we have so much footage. So it's nice to get something out here about the race. And yeah, now we can just talk forever about our race here.
Thank you to everybody at the race, first off, that said hello to us. It means so much. It's disarming and weird for people to say hi and say they're excited to see us, but it really means so much. So thank you. And thank you to everybody who went on Instagram and posted in the comments questions to ask Miguel. If you have any questions right now, you can post them in the chat. And I've got the chat up, and we'll read off whatever is appropriate and I think interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess to start, one of the big questions on Instagram was about your feet. I feel like last year, a lot of people were asking about your feet. And this year, at the beginning of the year, people are still asking about your feet.
Yeah.
You posted a picture of your bloody race shoes.
Down there. The picture on Instagram is better because we actually did our best to wash. But you can still kind of see there's a little bit of stainage here. But yeah, look at the picture on Instagram if you dare. But yeah. Basically, it had nothing to do with the shoe. It had nothing to do with my stupidity that caused it. I was dismounting from my bike, running into T2, and I tripped over my pedal or my bike and literally fell just straight over the top of my bike and clipped my toe on some piece under the cassette, sliced the top of my the two biggest toes, the top of the big toe and the middle of the second biggest. And I got up, kept running, and then I was in T2 and looked down as I was putting on my shoe, and there was just blood everywhere. And a volunteer came over because my shoe had that looks really bad. And I'm I'm in a race. And I'm yeah, it's fine. Just throw my sock and shoe on and I get going. And it really didn't affect anything except there's just a cool little blood splatter.
Yeah. Every step you were just flinging blood in front of you.
Well, every time I threw water on myself and looked down, there was a new pattern of blood on my shoe.
It's so gross. Yeah, sorry to start this with that graphic detail, but I guess we can just roll.
Yeah.
Race went just logistically from when we got to the race venue to the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want this to take forever, so I'll be kind of brief with the lead up and everything. But we got here a week. I stayed with our good friend Quinn, 30 minutes north of Oceanside. And then on Wednesday, we came down to our Airbnb here. I wanted to do it this way because I perform best when travel is not involved. So if I take care of the travel beforehand, before the race gets going, just alleviates a lot of stress. So we spent a good amount of time here. A couple days leading up to the race, we spent some time in the expo with Quintana Roo. We did some fun stuff with them. We did a giveaway with them. They have this service that anyone who has Quintana Roo, you can just bring your bike to tinker with my bike the day before the race. Flashback to last year of me sanding down my brake pads on
I said start race morning, but Eric's calling you out right
oh,
now.
I thought you said like the leading up to the race. Eric. But yeah, it's important. It's
Okay,
important.
yeah.
We're also filming this for our actual YouTube video, so I'm like thinking about acknowledging both.
Okay,
But
yeah.
race morning, yes. I forgot something at the Airbnb, so like we had less than an hour before I had to start the race. So I was like kind of panicked and setting things up. I didn't have time to do my full warm up and everything, which was different. Didn't have time to put chamois butter on or put Aquaphor, that chafe. So it worked out. I got to the swim start. Everybody was kind of doing their warm up, and the swim was interesting because there were like, I don't know, 50 to 70 pro males that were, and it was an in-water start. They changed the start from running into the ocean to everyone's waiting in the harbor, and you kind of do a loop out and back in the harbor. So everybody was lined up. I was lined up on the far right of the field, which in hindsight was kind of people next to me that could hang. So I was like in a little pack. I breathed to my right. So I was looking at like 2 or 3 people to my right that were right next to me. And about a few minutes into the race, I lift my head up and kind of like look around to see what else is going on, like specifically the other way. And the main pack that is like just trucking along with a big river of 50 guys following them, that's all like 100 yards to our left. Like we are just way off course. We are not taking the right line. They're taking the right line. So that was the first thing that kind of threw me off. And then we, getting to the first turn buoy, everyone kind of met up, but like I missed my shot of getting into the front pack. Once we kind of like hit the main group, I was just working my way up the field. I was probably like towards the back of the pack to this, going from feet to feet and passing people, making my way to the front. But again, no way I could reach the front pack. They're too fast. And if I had started next to them, I could have been up there, but not this time. Transitions are intense in a pro field. Everybody is just, there's no messing around. Like every part of the race is professional, including the transition. So it was quick. It was intense. I probably still had the slowest transitions, even though I thought they were fast for me. The bike leg, again, super intense, especially at the beginning, their position and work with the people they want to work with. I think that's one of the benefits of racing in a pro field over and over again and having this experience is people and their abilities and what who you want to be working with at every part of the race and what their strategy is, what their tactics are. And I didn't have that advantage. But I settled in with I recognize very few triathletes, but I recognize Andy Potts, and I was riding with him for the majority of the ride. And then First Time Pro was in that group. We passed a couple people I'm not sure if they joined or just got spat out the back, but that was the highlight of the race. And the unfortunate part about all of this, because if you were tracking a group and then I suddenly wasn't. But what happened is the beginning of the bike course is like super bumpy. And, you know, we got over the bumps. And at one point at like mile 15, I look at my shadow and I realized that my 2 bottle cages in the back, which have all of my nutrition, I do concentrated bottle. My bottle cages were empty. So all I had was front hydration with my nutrition and then nothing else. And something to note about the pro field in 70.3s is no one stops at aid stations. So if you slow down for an aid station, you're going to get dropped or you have to work really hard for your group. So I spent the next however many miles worrying about what I was going to do. The first aid station, my hands were completely frozen, so I couldn't grab anything. I still slowed down and attempted, but I had to catch right back up. And then the second aid station, 30 something miles in, I slow way down and fight really hard to catch back up to the group. So all of that, like slowing down, catching up, slowing down again a lot, and then working really hard to catch back up, takes a toll, especially when you don't have your designed nutrition, your designed race day nutrition. So that was the biggest obstacle I had to face, but I didn't want to back off and be conservative. I wanted to stay with that group for as long as I could and racing at a high level. What I did learn is, I mean, the whole bike was just a confidence boost because I realized that I do belong there and can ride with these guys and can work with them, not just hang on for dear life. They didn't have the nutrition that I needed. So that was fun, interesting. And then I kind of just soft pedaled the last 10 miles to almost rest a little bit for the run because I didn't want to end up walking the last half of the half. And the run was just very key. I mean, you know what happened in T2 with cutting my foot and that happened, but the run was just great. It was slow for me. I know I'm capable of going a lot faster, but I know why I didn't go faster because of the nutrition issue and over biking at some parts of the bike to catch up and all that. So it'll be better. I just wanted to be consistent and I was consistent. I started out at like 6 flat pace and the slowest I came to is like 6:20, 6:25 pace. So it was in a pretty narrow window, which I'm happy about. And considering all the adversity I had to face throughout the bike leg and really from the start, from the gun going off on the swim, I'm happy with the effort that I put out, the consistency, and battling on the bike to prove to myself really that this deal. So I'm just psyched for more of these and to learn more. This is still only like my 5th or 6th 70.3. So the more I do, the more I'm gonna learn.
Yeah, it's wild to think that it's only your 5th or 6th. Like you're still very new at this. It was the first time you ever did a 70.3. And so jumping into the pro field at this point, like you're still learning everything.
It's a risk for sure. But I figure like I learned more from the race yesterday than I did from all the age group races that I've done previously combined.
Mhm.
You know, it's like there's no harm in learning this way.
Mhm.
Yeah. How many 70.3s has Andy Potts done? Do we know that?
I don't know. But so what was different about this experience field than racing in the age group field? And like, how were your nerves? I know this whole season is very different. You aren't just a pro. Like you're competing with pros for the first time. You have sponsors. You're racing for money. Like there's a lot of pressure that could be on you.
I feel like the mindset shift in training. Once I made this decision, I mean, it's silly, but it's like, oh, I'm a professional now. I have to do these things. And you don't say it out loud. You don't say I have to do these things. It just kind of happens. Like it becomes part of you to stick, like make your schedule ahead of, stick to your workouts, do things the right way, eat the right way. And, listening to your coach, listening to your supporters, to your sponsors, the people that are willing to help you in different ways, and just stick to, kind of stay in your lane. Like I've thought about like as a professional athlete, I wake up, I eat right, I do the training. Coaching is done by the coaches. I don't want to interfere with that. I don't want to question it. The bike mechanic stuff, take it to a bike shop. Don't try to tinker forever and end up ruining your bike.
If you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. And I don't know what I'm doing. I could lie and say like, oh, I'm doing, but like I've changed a chain before, but like I don't know what I'm doing. So leave all of that to the experts. I'm good at training. I'm good at racing. I'm going to stick to that and focus on that. So yeah, I mean, that's the biggest change for me, as a professional in terms of like kind of reflecting on it, but everything is just at 100 miles per hour. There's no time to take a break during these races. You have to stay mentally engaged the entire time. If you put your head in it, kind of like soft pedal for a minute, you're going to get dropped. It's one of these silly things, but it's like, I need to work on like my neck mobility, because you can't not be looking ahead. Like you need to be looking ahead a lot to see like where, like I need to work on like keeping my head low and looking ahead, staying engaged. So there are these kind of like little things that I've realized physically that I need to work on. But yeah, mentally, it's just everything is moving really fast. Everything is very intense. You just got to stay engaged. And I'm sure people that were out there, again, thank you everyone that was like cheering and yelling my name and stuff. That was really cool. And if I just didn't acknowledge you or gave you just like a tiny thing, it's because I'm just like, I needed to stay very mentally engaged the whole time. And any time your mind drifts and you panic or something happens, like you're wasting energy. Like your mind uses a lot of energy, and you can't afford to stray too far from the task at hand, because it's literally just wasting energy. So yeah.
In the comments, somebody just and Eric said that Andy has won Oceanside 5 times versus your fifth 70.3. So like not to play the comparison game, but like you were up against very seasoned pros. It was a very stout. And I know like your age group career has been like with your sights as like winning top age group or winning overall age group. What were your goals going into this race?
I a few months ago, like in January, I was writing down some goals, and after talking with our sports psychologist, Jim Taylor, and talking with my coach, Conrad, working triathlete, we kind of came to the conclusion that I shouldn't have goals for this race. We have training goals. We have things that we wanted to do on big, that got me kind of nervous, because it's like, I need to hit this pace. I need to hold this power for this long. And I need to feel good doing it. So I was like kind of nervous about those big training days. But in terms of like racing at Oceanside, I did not want expectations for myself going into this, because there's race other people, like, be within the tactics of the race and the strategy that like we just didn't know. So, I think because of that, it was really nice going to this race and being like, let's just have fun. We were joking that like in the pro meet, we were like, man, it's weird. Everyone is so serious here, because it's like, it's their job. These are professional athletes. But, I almost felt like a kid again doing this sport, as just like, this is when I get to, I'll learn to love them someday. Yeah, I mean, not having those expectations really, like, it just opened things up to just a, I don't know, a really fun day.
What was the on-course conversation like? Did you make any
Ooh.
friends?
I asked Andre Lopez when the next aid station was. We were going up a hill.
You were like, I'm so
I think
thirsty.
he kind of looked at me like, oh, buddy.
Water.
Looked back and saw my 2 empty bottle cages.
You just said they're there.
Yeah, no, there was a little bit. Andy Potts was really cool. He was, when you go up and down these hills, like the draft tends to stretch out, so you need to catch up a little bit to fill that 12 meters. You go up a hill, it closes, and then you need to drop back because it always remains 12 meters. Even though you're going up a hill, it's really easy to get very close. So I remember Andy Potts like looked at me and was like, yeah, so I think like, yeah, thanks, Dad. Have you done this before?
Race this course?
Yeah, so just like little things like that. I mean, everybody is trying to stay engaged in what they're doing, so there isn't. But and then when I was running with someone for a while, and I think they were talking to themselves, but like also out loud with me next to them. They were like, 30 minutes to go. Like, we got this. Come on, we're almost there. And everybody's hurting, everybody's suffering at that point. So little things like that, especially when you're fighting for 25th place or whatever, it's just like people just want to finish strong and not like, I need to beat you, so I'm gonna.
I mean, that's really interesting. Like, even though there is a 12-meter draft that's allowed to draft, you still get that drafting benefit by being with other people. And like, similar to like a draft legal, I don't know who here has done draft legal racing, but like, you are in constant conversation with everybody that you are in a pack with. And like, you're telling other people to take a poll now, and you're like encouraging everybody else, because the faster that you go. And so it really does turn into a team sport with your competitors. Like, you are on a team at that point with your competitors. And so them saying like, 30 minutes to go, like, we got this. Like, yeah, you guys do got this. And the faster one person at the front pushes, faster everybody is going to go.
Yeah. Something we did by just encouraging each other. And then, the bike is the same way. Like, when we were in the pack, I'm remembering again too, like, some people, were like, all right, let's work together. Like, all right, good work. Like, someone takes, because 12 meters, you're getting a draft. It's like, let's work together as long as we can and see if we can catch a few people.
Yeah. We are closing in on our finish time here. We have a photo shoot with QR after this, but we'll make the rest of this pretty quick. Of everyone in the pro field, who was it most surreal?
If I was like playing basketball with Stephen Curry, I would be very starstruck, but
Miguel actually didn't know who Andy Potts was until I told him which one Andy Potts was.
No. I knew who Andy Potts was.
Okay.
Yeah. He was one of the, I was like trying to become a professional myself. So there isn't too much of like, oh my God, I've looked up to professional triathletes my entire life. And like, there's that person. So I think it's a little bit different for me. I mean, I guess like, I don't know. None of that really, which I think is kind of healthy.
Yeah. What did you eat pre and post race? People want to know how long it was from when you crossed the finish line to your burrito.
Oh, okay. Well, morning of, I had some oatmeal and banana, and then a couple pieces of toast with a lot of electrolytes and all that. So, very functional big day oats, I guess. Foats. Functional oats.
I don't like that.
And then post race, some leftovers for lunch.
There there are tacos
But-
always at the finish line.
Oh yeah, the tacos at Oceanside are primo. And then burrito time was dinner. Yeah, so that was a few hours after the race, but definitely got the burrito, and we'll probably go for breakfast burritos after.
Yeah, absolutely. How did the QR perform?
Loved the QR. I mean, maybe there's part of it that was racing on my old bike that I just treated very poorly because I like to mess around with bikes, which I've learned not to do now. But I always had problems with it. I would never on it, never felt safe on it. So having literally the best equipment I could be set up with was an absolute game changer. Not only are the Quintana bikes like really fast and really well put together and really safe. Again, that free service that you can get before the race is really sweet, and everybody's really kind. So yeah. And when I tripped over my bike in T2, everything is fine, not a scratch rep. And he was like, wait, what happened? But it's good. And yeah, I'm so psyched. I mean, new equipment is always like, there's a learning curve to it. Even if you're set up on the best equipment, it takes a while to really adjust and adapt to the thing, dialed in how you want it. So I'm not launching bottles. Like, we have the best rehydration bottle cages out there, but a big bump like what we went over, like that knocks bottles out of anything. So it's like just understanding ways to make your equipment the way you want it. So that's what's next.
Calf guards too,
Yeah.
which you've never done before.
Yeah. Well, we're working with Rule 28 now. You'll see our new kit designs really soon. I just didn't have mine in time. But the kits are amazing. I felt really comfortable and fast the whole time. The calf guards are great. I didn't realize that like every pro is wearing those now, so I'm glad I did. Would have messed with me to look around and be like, oh man, I should have worn mine.
I actually didn't notice that a lot of people were wearing them.
It's weird. Yeah,
it feels like it might be because I see it so often that it doesn't like catch me off guard.
Makes a difference. If you're looking for the marginal gains and you're going fast on a bike, it makes a difference.
Will you run in the Saucony Elites again?
Yeah, I really like the Saucony Elites. I've worn the Alpha Flies in the past, and those are fast, but they feel unstable. They wreck my toes. My toes were wrecked before I even started the run this time, but Saucony Elites, easy to get on. I even had regular laces on them, and I could slip my foot into them and run with regular laces. So yeah, they're a good shoe.
I know this was your 5th race ever, but back to your 5th 70.3, but thinking back to your first one, do you have any tips for like a brand new triathlete?
Yeah, I mean, my mindset, now that I think about it, from the first one to this one was very much the same. I got very serious at times, 3 or whatever, middle 4 or 5. But the first amateur 70.3 that I did was like, this is brand new. I'm just here to have fun. I'm just here to learn. And then this one was exactly the same thing. No expectations. I'm just here to learn. I'm just here to have fun, be supported by my friends and family that are here with me. All of that. It's, I think the biggest thing is just being aware of your mindset. Not even like forcefully change your mindset, but just being aware of where your mind is at and how you're treating yourself. If you find yourself kind of like panicking and forcing yourself to do things that you may not necessarily want to do, like stop and think about that. I've noticed that this race, I was like treating myself with respect, and I think that makes, even with all the adversity and the result that I may not have been looking for, I couldn't have asked for a better day. And I think that starts with just like how I went into the race with an open mind and just planning to have fun no matter what happens. My
Mhm.
coach told me to neutral opinion on everything that happens leading up and during the race. And which is great because you can set your mindset ahead of time. I'm going to have fun. And then everything that happens, you know, positive or negative, you're just neutral about, and you make the most of it.
And what's the next pro for you?
70.3 Gulf Coast. That's in 5 weeks. But before that, we're going to head to Dallas, and Jenna's going to kick off her season with multi-sport nationals.
We're going to Dallas this Thursday. My best friend from growing up is getting married, and then we're going to spend a couple weeks beforehand. It'll help me acclimate to the weather out there. And yeah, I'm going to do the aqua bike and the mixed team relay and potentially a couple others. I'm still trying to decide.
Yeah. And if anybody is in Dallas that wants to go for a run or something, I'll just be hanging out. Yeah. Emotional support crew for Jenna as she defends her national titles. So it should be fun.
Anything else?
No, not really. I mean, I'll wrap it up, but it was an amazing experience. I'm excited to do more. I know what I need to work on. We could get into the nitty gritty of all these things that I need to work on, but in general, it's just like keep doing what I'm doing and keep learning and keep gaining the experience that I need to compete. Physically, I'm there and I'm on the right track to get even better. You know, Oceanside is a beautiful race. I'm glad I had done this before in the past. I'm glad I made the step up. This is where I want to be. And I'm ready to rest a little bit, have a carb reading back to training. So yeah.
No podcast, but I don't know.
I think this
you
is
like this.
Yeah. I think this is our first time like doing these just like post-race recaps, which I think we want to get in the habit of, you know, 15 minutes to tell a story that really we spend a lot of time reflecting on. So I think this is a good way to, you know, reflect even more and share our whole experience. So yeah, I think we'll
Not another thing.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining us and for sending in all the questions, adding to the conversation in the chat. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you at the next one. If you don't follow us on Instagram, follow us there at Freestyle Try or at Jenna Haufler and Miguel Mattox.
And if you have any more questions, because I know we didn't get to everything, just message us and we'll be good about responding and posting stuff about our continued experience with everything. We want to be transparent and open about there's a stigma in the sport where you have to be kind of guarded and closed off. So we want to be open.
Oh yeah, somebody was asking what your average power was, but I didn't ask you that one.
Low 300s. It was the highest power I've ever put out in a 70.3. Normalized was 315, I think. So
dang.
Yeah.
All right. We'll end on that.
Gotta figure out how to do more with that. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.